Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Ukraine voted a new media law. Remember, Ukraine wants to be member of the European Union, where we have freedom of the press, and is part of the free world. It's one of the non-corrupt countries on this planet with a free mass media and all that. Well, guess what? They voted another law a day ago, where they, in a weasel way, obviously tell you who can say and what the government can do about it, and how much power the government has to limit certain kind of media, if you know what I mean. Well, let's find out exactly what these are talking about. And this is a great article because it comes from the other side, so it's going to be critical. You don't want the yes sir media. So in this case we have a Russian media outlet, which is Sputnik. It's going to talk about the Ukrainian Media Law. Why? Otherwise you're going to be a yes man. So you want someone that doesn't really like you to point out to some problems and obviously exaggerate. But maybe you and I will be able to discern the difference between exaggeration and fact. All right. If not, there's always a chance to be propagandized, and we are, more or less. So this article comes from Sputnik, and it's from yesterday, the 30th of December 2022. This is the title: New Ukrainian Media Law, Nationalistic, Anti-Russian, European. MP says. All right, let's see what's going on here. So is nationalistic, which is a bad word in the free world nowadays. You can't love your nation. You have to love someone else's nation, preferably in a different continent. But those guys over there are allowed to love their country. Only you are not allowed, if you know what I mean. Yes, you know what I mean. Anyway, Ukraine's new censorship legislation that enables Kiev, you understand here the words, right? The terms that the Russians are inserting. That enables Kiev to shut down any news media is part of the current government's nationalistic policies. Current government's nationalistic policies aimed primarily at eliminating Russian heritage and rewriting history. Thierry Mariani, a French member of the European Parliament, told Sputnik. So this is what a French parliamentary from the European Union said. So he said that Ukraine's new censorship legislation that enables Kiev to shut down any news media is part of the current government nationalistic policies aimed primarily at eliminating Russian heritage and rewriting history. Obviously, this guy uses those things with eliminating Russian heritage and rewriting history, but at the same time, being nationalistic for this Mr. French guy, I'm assuming, is a bad thing. Yeah, French member, Thierry Mariani, is a bad thing. So because France has, look at France in Napoleonic Wars and look at France now. And you tell me, if you bring Napoleon in Paris right now and you let him walk around, he's going to say, where am I? Well, Emperor, you are in Paris. What Paris? Who are these people around here? Are we invaded? Just kidding. On Thursday, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky signed a controversial media law that gave the Ukrainian authorities the right to fine and close any broadcaster, newspaper or website if they do not like their information content. Remember, this is Russian, so I don't think it's really like that. He doesn't like. Maybe, but let's move on and find out here a quotation mark. Censorship of the media is not new in Ukraine. The best way to apply the regime's nationalistic policy is to control the press, just like in the good old days of the Soviet Union. Mr. Zelensky knows it, and it deepens censorship with some opposition in the Rada, the Ukrainian parliament, though, Mariani said, the same guy, the same French member of the European Parliament. The French expert, I don't know if he's an expert or not, but they elevate him to the expert, so it gives him credibility for others. You can look for this guy and see if he's an expert. What's an expert? someone that knows a lot about the issue. So I don't know if this guy knows anything about the issue, but I think he made some points. So the French expert explained that the Ukrainian government decided to adopt the law as it wants to eradicate the Russian language despite it being the mother tongue of a large part of the country's population. And I'm quoting Mr. Mariani. All administrative acts everywhere, even in such cities as Odessa or Dnipro, must be in Ukrainian, even if 99% of the population speaks Russian only for some 300 years at least. Is this democracy? End quote, Mariani said. We in the United States of America, we have, at least in Spanish, if you go travel, you go to a, or not even travel, if you go here to a Secretary of State and you try to, I don't know, renew your driver's license, you have instructions and all things in Spanish, you know, and you can have another languages. That's fine, but over there, even moreover, you can't use Russian in that. I mean, that's. I remember when we were in, when I used to live in Romania, before Romania begged to be accepted in the European Union and bent over for those guys. It was embarrassing, but hey, that's why I'm not there anymore, because those guys are more weasel than these guys. So I said, what am I going to do? Live with these weasels? I can't. By democratic vote, they are more than I am. So what am I supposed to do? Work within the system? I'll be a loser all the time. Anyway, so I choose to find different ways. So anyway, I remember when the European Union used to come, some experts, some bosses would come and check on the idiots, Romanians, government and us as people, and see if we respect the minorities' rights, like exactly what the Ukrainians are not doing right now for the Russians. And the Romanians are banning, and I agree with that. Yes, Romania has a big minority of Hungarians over there, like about 5%, 5% or something like that. So anyway, if I remember correctly. So they had that one, 6%, I think, something around that. And they have some certain provinces, areas, jurisdictions where they're majority. They are, 70%, 80%, 60%, and they speak Hungarian. And obviously in school they have Hungarian language, and they go until from the 1st grade to the 12th grade in Hungarian. They use only Hungarian. And you can meet one of those guys in the street, and he's, 24, and he barely speaks Romanian in Romania. Well, it's not like in the United States we say, well, from pluribus unum, from many one. It's not like that over there. Okay, we know exactly who's who, what's what, whose nation, whose country is this, and so on. Not like here, oh, it's okay, let's speak some Swahili now. Fuck, what do you mean? Anyway, not that I have anything against Swahili, but, you get what I want to express. So here we have the lawmaker recalled that Kiev's intention to ban the Russian language in schools was one of the reasons behind the upheaval in Donbass in 2014. This spiral is not new, but it is getting much worse now, Mariani said. The time Kiev is set on destroying the country's history, as proven by the dismantling of a monument to Russian Empress Catherine the Great in Odessa. That was stupid. But the Pearl of the Black Sea that was actually built by her, he added. And I'm quoting, Zelensky is every day on television to deliver his truth, and his propaganda is passed on as truth by all the subsidized Western media, no conditional to the figures and announcements of Zelensky. It is the new gospel, like Jesus. Zelensky transforms water in wine. It is open bar for him and his government in the West. Very few are the journalists who dare contradicting the oracle, end quote, the French politician told Putin. Yeah, you can use that, Sputnik. Mariani also said it's difficult to voice a dissenting view with anyone defending Zelensky and the Ukrainian government. In particular, the vast majority of the European Parliament have voted for the resolution that declares a famine the struck parts of the United Soviet Union, including Ukraine in the 1930s, as a genocide of the Ukrainian people. And I'm quoting, oh man, I'm sick as hell. I was one of those who opposed this vote. The famine was general, and the agricultural regions of the Soviet Union at the time, and indeed millions died. But the famine was due to the calculation of agriculture decided by Soviet-era leader Joseph Stalin. It was general in the Soviet Union and not aimed at Ukraine. Well, I don't know that much about it too. So this European resolution is based on a lie, a total fake. Mariani told Sputnik. I don't know. I thought it was everything was about Ukraine, about the Holodomor. But hey, I don't have I think it was a bad situation and tragedy. Not bad, tragedy. Stalin died and that's it. Ukraine's media law has faced criticism from journalists and human rights activists at the initial stages of the consideration. Ricardo Gutierrez, the head of the European Federation of Journalists, called provisions of the document coercive and worthy, I'm quoting, and worthy of the worst authoritarian regimes. Back in July, the Committee to Protect Journalists also urged Ukrainian legislators to revise the law that, and I'm quoting, threatens to restrict press freedom in the country, in the country, and would move it away from European Union standards. Well, that's your boy right there. So suck his thing and get going. This is it, and this is that was done by a democratic vote in the Rada. So it was not like a decree, as far as I know. So imagine that. How would you call that? You would call democracy? All right. So let's say tomorrow here in the United States of America, there are enough people to vote for, I don't know, let's say incarcerate or put people in camp because of some physical differences. Let's say people with blue eyes should be incarcerated and put in work camps. Would that be okay? I mean, that would be a democratic vote. So you see, there are certain things that are evil or that push you away from a civilized society. I think that's one of them. And it's scary. And remember, Zelensky is the guy who shows up and he talks and he's just a clown. And the problem is there's a lot of people who really believe in that clown, really believe. And they vote. And they nullify your vote and my vote whenever we decide to play this game. Because it's just we're asked to support the game by going over there and voting. Anyway, that's one interpretation of what's going on here, because regardless who you vote for, nothing changed, because the guys behind, the real guys who are really in control, they come the next day and tell the politician, hey, hello, this is what you're supposed to do, keep going. And the politician, being a weasel in a democratic system of elections, then what do you want? He's going to do it, because he's not going to get the money to be a candidate again, to be pushed forth by this interest for us to vote for. Anyway, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.